Hey Amanda, good to see you. How are you doing this afternoon? Hey there. How you doing on this Monday? That sort of feels like a Sunday, feels like a Wednesday, feels like a Friday. All the days seem to be kind of melding together, aren't they? Great to see you. Yeah, it's been quite a time, hasn't it? And I'm grateful for you for walking this journey with me and joining as we figure out how to support each other and stay connected with each other during this time. It's been a lot of really challenging situations, a lot of really beautiful situations, and that's a lot of what we're going to talk about today. So I'm grateful to see you, Amanda, always for your support. Everyone who's joining, welcome. So great to see you. This is Catherine Spinney coming to you live from Baltimore, Maryland, Charm City. It is a rainy, kind of gray day, but that's okay. I'm happy to be having you join and spend this time together. We are going to spend this week every day at 1 o'clock. I'll be here. I'm also doing another showing live every day on Instagram at 10 and then on Twitter at 4 o'clock. So you can go for the repeat showing if you are so inspired. But trying to connect in any way we can. People, I know myself included, are really looking for ways to stay connected during this time and support each other. So that's what I'm hoping to do. Please do share the video with anybody who might be interested. Amanda, I know you're so great about sharing. Any comments you make not only helps people in the group, but it helps your friends and other folks to see the video as well. So what we're going to talk about today to kick off the week is how to make the most of this time as a professional. So that can be any type of professional that we have in the room. So if you are so inclined to drop a hello or a wave in the chat so I know who's here and what field you're in, then we can maybe cater some of the information there. So today we're going to talk about how to make the most of this time as a professional. Tomorrow, we're at same time, 1 o'clock here. We're going to talk about how to manage and support your team virtually and working remotely, particularly if you've never done this before, because some people work remotely all the time. Some people are doing this for the first time. So we'll talk about some things you can be doing to help build up your team and support them during this time. On Wednesday, we're going to focus on my youth development after school folks. We're going to talk particularly about how to make this time valuable for our frontline staffs. We want to make sure they're paid first and foremost, and we want to make sure they are supported, and not that we're just giving them busy work, but that we're giving them really valuable work. So we'll do that on Wednesday. On Thursday, we're going to talk about the four main areas of leadership. Those of you who have been in my workshops before, we use an acronym. It's called Lead with Your Mind. And that acronym stands for mindset, investment, necessary skills, and desire. So we'll talk about those four components on Thursday. And finally, on Friday, we're going to talk about all things coaching. One of the many things I do, and one of the prominent things I do right now is coaching. And a lot of people still don't really understand what coaching is, which I get. I didn't either when I started my journey. And a lot of people are interested in maybe becoming a coach, but they're not quite sure how to get there. So we'll talk about that on Friday. So please do share videos with whoever might benefit. And if you're here watching, come say hello. And I would love to thank you and welcome you for being here. Hey, Candace. So we're going to focus on 5 main areas of how you can use this time to your benefit. And one of the things that is really challenging during this time is that we have so many things going on at once, and we have so many question marks about what is going on. We have dealt with challenges in the past. All of us have personal and professional challenges that we deal with all the time, but we often are dealing with things we've encountered before. All of a sudden, we're in this moment where we don't know what this is, and we don't know how long it's going to be. And that's a really different situation. So if you're anything like me, you have spent some of your time and energy sort of lamenting and complaining about this, right? Some of us have lost jobs. A lot of us have lost money. We have lots of questions about health and mental health and our safety. And people are really challenged by what's going on. That is completely reasonable and expected. So I don't at all want to dismiss any of the challenges that any of you are experiencing. At the same time, this is a great opportunity for something better, personally and professionally. So you've noticed, I'm sure, a lot of threads on social media are talking about all the good things that have come out of this situation, that people are spending more time with each other, sometimes a little too much time with each other, right? Everybody's making everybody crazy. But I've heard from people who are resting more, who are reading more, who are cooking more. My favorite food since I was little is fried shrimp. I've eaten it 1,000 times. And as much as I love to cook, I've never tried to make it. Guess what I did yesterday? I made the most delicious fried shrimp for lunch. So it's all these opportunities to do things we maybe haven't done before. But in order to do that, we really need to access the number one thing that we need to do to make this time the best it can be as professionals, and that is work on our mindset. So those of you who have done any training with me before know that everything comes back to mindset. In order to be able to process this time as opportunity and not pure challenge, we have to have the mindset that says, yes, things are challenging. Yes, we've never experienced this before. Yes, I have feelings of anxiety and uncertainty, and I'm struggling. And, no but, and how can I use this time for my benefit? So the mindset comes into play because you have to believe that there is opportunity in this challenge. And my guess is the fact that you have joined us today means that you are recognizing there is opportunity here. So I encourage you to be cognizant of what is running through your mind as the hours, the days, the weeks, maybe the months go on. And some of those challenges get better. Some of them get worse before they get better. What is the story that's running through your mind about how you are experiencing this situation? And where are there moments that you can say to yourself, yes, I acknowledge that this is hard, and I know I have what it takes to make it better. Okay, so that's the first thing, is really check your mindset and say, here's the challenge. Here's what I have to make it better. So the second area where you can really focus your energy during this time to help you grow as a professional is in the area of assessment. And assessment is a big, heavy word, and it means a lot of things. So here's what I mean when I say using this time for assessment. So first and foremost, as a professional, this is such a wonderful opportunity for you to assess, for you to take stock of where you are right now in your professional journey. Are you in the position you want to be in? Are you at the organization you want to be in? And where do you want to be next? When is next? Is it next week, next month, next year? Where are you trying to go? And if you don't know, here's a great time to figure it out. What is it that you want to be doing? It is so easy with everything we have going on to get caught up in the day-to-day of our work, of our lives. And all of a sudden we look back and say, where did that time go, right? We often get into this moment where we stop being intentional about our plan. When we're in high school, everybody asks us all the time, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? And then we get to college and then they say, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And then you graduate and people stop asking us that question. And sometimes we stop asking ourselves. So we need to keep asking ourselves because the answers change over time. So take this time to really look around you, look at where you are professionally and ask yourself, is this where I want to be? And if I am perfectly happy where I am, where can I continue to grow and provide value and feel valued so that I can get satisfaction in this position? If you're not where you want to be, or you know in the future you want to be somewhere different, what does that look like? What are the steps you need to get there? So this is a really great opportunity for that. The second area of assessment that is really valuable for you during this time is a self-assessment, but more so a self-reflection. Self-assessments are everywhere, right? And they've really taken hold of our trainings and our retreats, and everybody has an assessment. So they have all these personality assessments, and people talk about the Myers-Briggs, right? I'm an ISTJ, and what are you, and what does that mean? And I've done these other team building exercises around what color are you, what animal are you, right? And there is value to be had in those types of assessments. But more than whatever instrument it is that you're using, you really don't have to use a particular instrument at all. You can do some self-reflection with great honesty and intention and say, what are the strengths that I am bringing to my professional life? How do I do more of that? I know what I'm good at. Am I using that as much as possible? And if not, how do I use those more? If you are also a supervisor of other people, how are you helping your staff access what they're best at? We've spent a lot of energy over the years looking at what we think is wrong, what we consider weaknesses in ourselves and others, and we spend all this time and energy trying to get over these weaknesses. And that is hard work, particularly because the things that we're not very good at tend to be the things we don't enjoy. And it's really hard to change, and it's really hard to grow. And it's particularly hard if you don't like the thing you're trying to get better at. So that doesn't mean that you dismiss everything that is not your strength, but there's been this shift in mindset, once again, of saying, what would happen if we focused on our gifts, on our strengths, and we put our energy there? What would that look like instead of spending all this energy trudging through what we consider to be our weaknesses? The third area of assessment that would be really valuable for you at this time is to seek some feedback from those around you, those above you, those below you, those beside you. I know feedback can be a scary thing, but it is such a valuable part of our growth on our professional journey. And even if we are really self-aware, even if we are really self-reflective, we can only be so self-aware. Even the most enlightened of us has blind spots, right? So how do you get to those blind spots? Because if you really are sincere in wanting to grow, whatever your goal is as a professional, you're not going to get there if what you can't see is what's holding you back, right? If you don't even know it's holding you back, then how can you work toward having it not hold you back anymore? And so here's what you can do during this time. Face the fear, right? Is think of people you can ask, and there's great value again and looking up, down, and all around. A lot of organizations do these 360 kinds of assessments. Do your own 360 assessment on yourself. Reach out to people who are supervising you. Reach out to the people you supervise. Reach out to the people that work alongside you. And go back in time and reach out to people who used to supervise you. Reach out to people you used to supervise. Reach out to people you used to work alongside with. And seek their honest, authentic input to help you get where you want to go. So how you go about that is entirely up to you. I am always a big proponent of face-to-face conversations. I think that's where we get the most information and value. We have to be a little creative during this time. Obviously, it would have to be a virtual face-to-face conversation. It could also be a phone call. And if that doesn't work for whatever reason, you can put something in writing. It can be really formal and structured. It can be informal. It can be a survey. You can create whatever it is that you want. But what you're getting out of this exercise is to honestly seek out areas that you might not be aware of that other people can shed light on to help you get to where you want to go. So one of the books I'm reading right now that has been so wonderful, and I highly recommend it, it is The Classic Success Principles by Jack Canfield. He's the guy who wrote all the Chicken Soup for the Soul books. And it's a very broad, big, thick book that looks at all areas in how we can become successful, whatever that means to us. And when he gets to the feedback section, he shared a question that has been on my mind ever since, because even in all the feedback work I've done, I've never heard the question posed quite this way. So I encourage you to read the book, but if you don't have a chance to read the book, I still want to share that question with you. And the question was, what do you see that I am doing that is limiting myself in reaching my goals? And that question is so powerful because, for starters, it really puts the ownership and responsibility on ourselves, right? It's really easy to say, well, I didn't reach that goal because, I'm not successful because, I didn't get that promotion because. And while some of those things might be true, we always play a part, and we can't control the external stuff. We can only control the part that we contribute to. So when you pose this question to someone you trust, someone you respect, someone who is willing to be honest with you, one, it frames it in a way that it is their opinion. It's what do you see? So that could be very different than what another person sees, right? But what do you see that I am doing that limits my growth? And people who've worked beside you, people who have supervised you, people you supervise are going to have really powerful insight on that. And the answers might be all over the place. They might be related to a specific skill. Like it would really benefit you to learn this language. It would really benefit you to learn better this technology. It would really help you to learn this new program, right? That's a little bit of an easier fix. You might also learn it's something about how you show up. Okay. And you might hear answers like, you don't seem to have the confidence that will help you succeed, or you ramble in meetings, right? Or your tone comes off as really aggressive sometimes, or I have to follow up with you a lot before you respond, or who knows, whatever it is. But those are the things that people talk about too often when you're not in the room. And it doesn't give you a chance to do something about it. Now, of course, you are not required to do anything about anything. So you can take that feedback and say, I don't support it. I don't agree with it. That's not true. It's your decision. But I would look for patterns. If you start to hear similar things from different people, what might really be holding you back? So again, those are three areas where you can take some time to assess where you are in your career and where you want to go. Some self-reflection and assessment. And finally, getting feedback and assessment from others. Okay, we're doing great on time. So the third area where you can really use this time to your benefit is to try something new. I've been hearing from a lot of my friends, a lot of people on social media. I mentioned about cooking fried shrimp for the first time. Well, I also just signed up for a course that I have been saying for years I'm going to sign up for. You may have heard of it. It's called The Science of Well-Being, and it's put on by Yale University, and they're offering it for free. And it's very coachy. It talks about what is happiness, what is well-being, what does it mean, how do we get there? Well, I've seen it go around social media for a while, and every time it pops up, I say, oh, I think I'll take that course, and then I don't, right? And this time around, one of my friends joined, and she threw up a challenge on social media and said, like, who wants to take this class with me? And all of a sudden, I had this accountability partner, and here we go. We did our first lesson yesterday. So there's always opportunity out there to try something new. There is increased opportunity now because so many areas are free. We've seen all the free stuff that's happening right now virtually, that where people are doing free concerts from their living rooms, and you can take tours of museums, and you can see the turtles in the aquarium, right? There's all these virtual opportunities. Well, there's also all these virtual professional development opportunities, courses that are now free, webinars, all the books and podcasts and all blogs, and all these ways that you can learn. On the one hand, it can be very overwhelming because there are a lot of options. But on the other hand, what a great time during this time to start to explore some of those. What areas do you want to try something new? If it is, we mentioned some skills, if it's a new language, a new technology, if it's a new way of thinking, working on your mindset, right? Where is there opportunity for you to work on your own growth during this time? The second piece of trying something new is, where can you reach out to your organization and say, hey, I would like to use this time to try this, okay? All of us have long to-do lists. All of us have these dreams of, I'll get to it someday, right? We have our long to-do lists every day of all the things we need to do to get our tasks done. And next to that is the list, the someday list, right? When I have time, when I have money, when things slow down, when does that ever happen, right? But these are the things that you say, almost like a dream list. If I had the time, if I had the money, these are the things I would be doing. Well, for many of us now, we have this space. We have this time to say, how are we going to use this time in the best way we can? So you can reach out to your organization, to your boss, and say, hey, boss, hey, organization, hey, team, I would really like to use some time this week, this day, this month to try out this new thing that we've been talking about, that I've been thinking about. And hopefully you receive some support from your organization, from your boss. And in the case that you don't, which I am sorry if that's the result of that, it still shows that you are taking initiative and you're trying to make the most out of this time, which will look very good for you in the eyes of your organization. So think about something you can be doing on your own, and think about something that you can be sharing with your organization to try something new during this time. And that might not be something completely new, but that might be something that you haven't done in a while. So, you've seen a lot of people say they're cleaning out their cupboards, they're cleaning out their closets, they're getting into that junk drawer, that really scary junk drawer. That's hard to say when you're from Boston. Junk drawer that you are scared to even go in there. Where is there some new opportunity, maybe it's not the first time, to clean up some things in your professional life, to clean up your resume, to clean up your LinkedIn profile, to clean up your portfolio, right? Where is there opportunity to do that as well? The fourth area where you can continue to use this time in a valuable way is in deepening your learning. So this doesn't necessarily have to be something brand new, but whatever it is that is your field currently, or the field that you would like to be in, where can you take some space to learn more and in a deeper way? So if you've been wanting to brush up on your leadership skills, if you've been wanting to brush up on how to work with coworkers better, how to lead a staff meeting, how to organize your desk, right? Whatever it is, this is a great time to do that. And I find the exploring to be fun, but also overwhelming. So I forever seek recommendations from people. I'll say, hey, I'm really trying to work on prioritizing my to-do list. Do you have any resource recommendations? Social media is a goldmine for that. I'm always happy to provide recommendations, particularly on the leadership front, but ask those around you. I'm looking for a resource. And try out some new ways of learning. If you always check out books, continue to read your books if that's what you love to do, but maybe check out some blogs also and see how you like that experience. If you like to attend trainings, have you done webinars? How many of these things have you done? Are you getting sick of doing these things, right? Like sometimes you need to shake it up a little bit where you're tired of being online, everything's virtual, just give me a book. I want a book in my hands. What about podcasts, right? Do you listen to any podcasts? If not, there's a great big world of podcasts out there for any interest you have. How might that help your learning? So to really take the time to explore and seek recommendations from those around you. And the last area where we'll talk about today, where you can really use this time in a valuable way, is to deepen your connections with your network. And again, this can look like so many different things, but here's the value in that. In our day-to-day, we do get caught up in all the stuff we have to do. We often work side by side with people that we don't know very well because we don't always have the time or the opportunity to get to know them very well. And that's a shame for a couple of reasons. One, research tells us that we work better with people that we know better. And when we view people as people and not just colleagues who sometimes make us crazy, if we get to know people a little bit better on a personal level, it enhances our working relationships, which means that it enhances our work. So where can you take this time to reach out to a colleague that you've always wanted to know better, but maybe haven't had the time or opportunity, where now you can say, hey, can we jump on a phone call, or reach out in whatever way is comfortable for you, but to start to build those relationships. On the other side, a little more challenging, but also very valuable, where have you had some working relationships that are a little bit challenging, that this might be a really nice time to reach out and connect and try to work through some of those challenges. It can also be a great time to, if you're a supervisor, to reach out to those you supervise and say, hey, I'm taking this time to really strengthen my leadership. I would love to hear your ideas about how I can do that. I would love to hear your experiences working on the team. Similarly, you can reach out to your supervisor and have those conversations with them as well. But I also suggest going past as well as going future. So when you look back at your work history, and maybe that work history is a year or a decade or however long you've been working, you've had a number of coworkers along the way. How many of them have you lost touch with? If you're like most of us, probably most of them, right? You move on, life gets busy, you lose touch, maybe you have some social media connection with them. But now is a really great time to reestablish those connections for a couple of reasons. One, you can tap into that network to get some of that feedback you're seeking. But two, people are really appreciative of people who are thinking of them. And particularly during this time, when people are seeking connection, you might make someone's absolute day to reach out and say, hey, I was thinking of you. How are you doing during this time? Remember this happened at work, and how funny was that? And you start to rebuild that connection. The other way that's really valuable is that the way we reach our goals is through the support of other people. So as you assess your goals, you can start to think, I'm really interested in this organization or this field or this course or this certification or whatever it is you're interested in. And as you start to reestablish connections with people, it's really eye-opening to know who knows those things, or who knows people who know those things that can keep you connected. And in the spirit of reciprocity, you might have some resources or connections or people that you can introduce to that person, right? Everybody wins when we're able to support each other. And finally, you can look toward the future if there are places you want to go where you can start to reach out to people and build some of those connections. If it's at a particular agency, if it's in a particular field, if it's a particular university you're looking at, whatever, where you can reach out to people and say, hey, I'm really interested in learning more about your experience with this. Would you be willing to set up a call or a chat or a Facebook Live or whatever the case may be, but really examining your network and reestablishing some of those lost connections, and also establishing some new ones. So I do want to throw in a little plug also. As part of all the free, wonderful resources that are out there, I have noticed all over the coaching community that coaches left, right, and center are offering free coaching. I think a lot of people are really looking for ways to give back and support people during this time. We don't always know how to do that, but a lot of coaches are, myself included, are reaching out and saying, hey, if you need someone to talk to, if you're curious what coaching is about. So take advantage of that. If you've been curious about what coaching is, if you might want to work with a coach in the future, I'm very happy to jump on a call with you and we can have that experience and see what you think. I'm also happy to connect you with other coaches if you have something very particular that you'd like to talk to about. Coaches specialize in all sorts of things, but it's one of the ways where you can get support, and if you haven't already, try something new. So to recap all that we talked about today, so there's obviously lots and lots of ways you can use this time to grow as a professional, but the 5 of the most valuable that we focused on today is: 1, keep working on your mindset in all things. Everything you do is the result of how you think about and how you process what you do. So how are you processing this time? What story are you telling yourself about this time? And how can you use that to your benefit? The second area is to use the time for assessment. Assess where you're at, where you want to go, how you need to get there. Do some self-reflection and assessment, and seek out those who know you well in a professional sense and get their feedback as well. The third area is to try something new. You can do this on your own, in your own self-development, but also on the organizational level. Reach out to your team, your boss, and offer ideas for things you can be working on at this time. The fourth area we talked about is deepening your learning. So what you really love, what you're really good at, what you want to, where you get lost when you're reading about it, hearing about it, talking about it, use that time to get into that flow. That's the buzzword nowadays, where you just lose track of time and you're so invested and interested in this topic, and how you can use the time for that. And finally, to use the time to deepen connections that you currently have, to create new connections for yourself, past, present, future, to help build your own network, and also to support others in your network. So those are the tips I have today. I know that all of us are up against some challenges during this time, and I fully respect and acknowledge those. And as we work through those challenges, we can use this time as opportunity to grow as professionals. I'm so grateful you joined me. Thank you, everybody. If you would be so kind to drop a comment so I know who's here. And if you have any follow-up questions, I'm very happy to answer them. If you think this video might be helpful to others, please feel free to share it. Again, I will also be on Twitter Live tonight for the first time ever. I hope it goes well. Same handle, CoachCat 2017. And then tomorrow I will be back here at 1 o'clock to talk about how to successfully support your team as you are working virtually. Thank you so much. Enjoy your Monday. Thanks, Amanda. Tamaria, thank you. And I met you in Orlando. Awesome. So grateful for all of you. Thank you. And again, if you have any questions or comments to follow up on, you know where to find me. Have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Hey, Devin. Thanks for being here. Okay, guys, take care. We'll see you tomorrow.